My friends, take a moment. Imagine a small kitchen at the end of the day. A pot is warm on the stove. Oil moves with a soft sound. Steam rises into the air. The room smells rich, deep, and a little sweet. Imagine a hand opening a small metal box. Inside are spices in quiet little spaces. Brown, gold, black, and red. Each one looks simple. Together, they feel like a secret. Imagine the sound of a spoon touching a pan. Imagine the smell growing stronger as the heat wakes everything up. Outside, maybe rain is falling. Inside, the air feels like home. Have you ever stopped to wonder what garam masala really is? Where did it come from? Why is it so different from one kitchen to another? Why does one family's blend smell warm and soft, while another feels bold and sharp? How did this spice mix travel through so many places and still stay close to home? Can you imagine a blend with no single fixed recipe? And can you imagine that this may be the reason people love it so much? Here is the surprising truth, my friends. For most of its story, garam masala was not one exact thing. It was not a single rule. It was a living idea. It could change from place to place, and even from home to home. Today, we will travel across time and across places, following warm smells, careful hands, and quiet kitchens. In simple, clear English, our first stop is not one city. It is a wider land full of roads, farms, markets, hills, and busy cooking fires. In these places, people learned something very important long ago. Food can fill the stomach, yes, but spices can do more. They can wake the senses. They can bring comfort. They can make simple food feel special. The words garam masala are often explained in a simple way. Garam can suggest warmth. Masala means a mix of spices. In simple words, it is a warm spice blend. But that does not always mean the food becomes hot like chili. It can mean warming in feeling, warming in smell, warming in the body. Imagine cool air in the morning. Imagine a clay stove. Imagine seeds and bark and dried pods waiting in a small bowl. A cook does not rush. First, there is smell. Then there is heat. Then there is change. But there was a problem. A spice on its own can be strong in only one way. One may be sweet. One may be sharp. One may be earthy. One may be bright. People wanted balance. They wanted food that felt full, round, and deep. So they began to mix. That was the first great change in our journey. Instead of using only one voice, cooks built a small family of voices. A little of this, a little of that. Not too much. Not too little. A careful mix could make food feel calm, rich, and alive at the same time. Many people say these blends grew from daily life, not from one famous moment. We do not have every detail, but records suggest that people across South Asia learned over time which spices worked well together. They toasted, crushed, mixed, tested, and changed. The work was quiet. The result was powerful. My friends, can you picture that slow learning? No big machine. No printed label. No bright packet from a store. Just memory, smell, hands, and practice. Just one generation teaching another at home. Say it with me. A warm spice blend. Now let us travel to the market. Imagine a street full of baskets. Imagine sellers calling out. Imagine cloth bags filled with coriander, cumin, pepper, cinnamon, cloves, and cardamom. The colors are soft, but the smells are bold. People come not only to buy, they come to compare, to ask, to learn. In one place, a cook may want more black pepper. In another, more coriander. Somewhere else, a family may add a little fennel for a sweeter note. Another home may leave it out. One blend is gentle. One is deep. One is bright at first, then warm later. And here comes a beautiful question. If the name is the same, why are the blends not the same? The answer is simple and human. Because people are not the same. Lands are not the same. Weather is not the same. Crops are not the same. And memory is never exactly the same. This is why garam masala is more than a recipe. It is also a map. It shows weather, trade, family taste, and local life. It carries the story of what people had, what they liked, and what they could keep. Try this phrase. Every home has change. Yes, the line is simple, but it matters. A spice blend can change because of money. It can change because of weather. It can change because one spice is easy to find and another is not. It can even change because a grandmother likes one smell and a child likes another. Can you imagine a whole family talking over one small spoon of spice? That may sound funny, but it happens. And food often remembers these little talks. Our next stop is inside the home. because this is where the story becomes very personal. Imagine a child watching from the side. The pan is warm. The spices are toasted only for a short time. Not too long, then they are ground. The smell becomes even deeper. The child learns without a notebook. The lesson enters through the nose, the eyes, the ears. Repeat after me. This smells like home. In many homes, no one says, this is the one true blend. Instead they say, this is how we make it. Those words are soft, but they carry great meaning. They leave space for change. They protect memory, but they also allow movement. That is the second quiet truth of Garam Masala. It lives between rule and freedom. There is pattern, but there is also room. There is memory, but there is also change. My friends, is that not a little like life itself? We inherit many things, then we adjust them. We keep what fits. We share what helps. We pass them on again. Some blends are added near the end of cooking. Why? Because the smell stays clearer that way. Some are mixed into food earlier. Why? Because the taste can sink deeper. Some cooks make only a little at a time. Freshness matters. A strong smell can fade if the spice waits too long. Imagine opening a jar that was made this week. Then imagine another that has sat for months. The difference can be quiet but real. This is why many cooks prefer to make their own blend. Fresh spice has more life. It carries more change from seed to pan. But our journey is only beginning. How did these quiet home blends move across regions? How did roads, trade, and travel shape them? And how did one name come to hold so many different stories? We will step out of the kitchen next, my friends, and follow the spices as they travel farther than we may expect. Now let us travel beyond the home and into the moving world of roads, carts, ports, and people. Imagine dust rising on a long road. Imagine traders carrying small, valuable goods across great distances. Imagine sacks tied tightly, because what is inside is precious. Some spices grow well in one place. Some travel from far away. Some are common in one town and costly in another. This matters, my friends, because Garam Masala was shaped not only by taste, but also by movement. A blend depends on what people can find, what they can afford, and what arrives in the market at the right time. So when spices travel, the blend can travel too. And when travel becomes hard, the blend changes again. Have you ever thought about how far a small spice may go? Can you imagine a seed crossing hills, rivers, and busy towns before it reaches one kitchen? And when it finally arrives, who decides how much to use? The market, the weather, the cook. In truth, all of them can decide together. Our next chapter takes us into different regions. Imagine the north, where winters in some places can feel cooler. Food may be rich and warm. A blend here may lean into deeper notes. Black pepper may speak more loudly. Clove may bring a dark warmth. Cardamom may lift the smell like a small bright light in the air. Now imagine another region with different crops, different habits, different daily meals. The blend may soften. It may open with coriander, or move in a sweeter direction, or stay lighter on the tongue. The name is still Garam Masala, but the feeling is not exactly the same. This is one reason the story is so interesting. We are not chasing one fixed recipe. We are watching a family of recipes grow. They share a heart, but not one face. They belong together, yet each one keeps its own voice. Say it with me. Same name, new taste. But there was a problem. As spice blends spread, people began to expect certainty. They wanted to ask, what is the correct version? That question sounds simple, but the answer is not. Because with Garam Masala, correct often means right for this place, this dish, this family, this moment. Some accounts describe cooks using certain spices for meat dishes, but changing the mix for vegetable dishes. Some families keep one blend for everyday meals and another for special days. Some use more whole spices. Some grind them very fine. Some toast first. Some do not. Can you imagine trying to write one single rule for all of that? My friends, this is where the journey becomes even warmer. Difference is not a mistake here. Difference is the tradition. In the next chapter, let us enter the age of adaptation. Imagine a family moving from one region to another. They carry little with them, but they carry memory. A mother remembers the smell from her childhood home. A father remembers how the spice was added at the end. A grandparent says, no, a little less clove. A child grows up tasting both old and new. This is how blends live. They do not stand still. They travel with people. They bend, they adjust. They survive. That is one of the great turning points in our story. Garam Masala was never only about where spices came from. It was also about where people went. When families moved, the blend moved. When new neighbors arrived, ideas mixed. When one spice was missing, another stepped in. Loss created invention, need created change. Repeat after me, we mix and change. Imagine a cook standing in a new city far from an older home. The market is different. The smells are similar, but not the same. One favorite spice is too expensive, another is easy to buy. So the cook experiments. A little more cumin, a little less cinnamon. Maybe a new seed enters the mix. Maybe one old spice leaves quietly. And then something beautiful happens. The new version becomes real. It is no longer a poor copy. It is its own home blend. Can you see the full circle feeling here? A family keeps the past, but also builds something new. The blend returns to the heart of the old idea, yet it wears new clothes. It stays connected to home, while making a new home at the same time. My friends, food often does this better than words. It carries hope without making a speech. It carries memory without a history book. One spoon can say we came from somewhere, and we are still here. Now let us travel to the kitchen again, but this time in a more modern world. Imagine city life becoming faster. Work is long, streets are crowded. People still want deep flavor, but they may have less time. So some begin to buy ready-made spice blends. Shops sell them in packets and boxes. The name Garam Masala appears in printed form more often. What was once mostly personal starts to become more public. This was another major change. A home blend met the world of selling and packaging. On one side, this helped many people. It saved time. It made the blend easier to find. It carried familiar flavor into busy lives. On the other side, something became harder to keep. Personal detail, tiny family choices, the smell of a spice box opened by hand. Can you imagine the first time a person tasted a factory-made blend after years of eating a family version? Maybe it felt useful. Maybe it felt strange. Maybe both. Try this phrase. Useful, but not the same. That small sentence holds a big truth. Ready-made blends helped Garam Masala spread farther. More people could taste it. More cooks could try it. More dishes could carry that warm final note. But at the same time, many families kept making their own. Why? Because flavor is personal. Because smell is memory. Because change does not erase the heart. And sometimes the humor writes itself, my friends. One person says, this blend is perfect. Another tastes it and says, perfect for who? Can you imagine a polite family argument over 1 teaspoon of spice? In many kitchens, that is almost a tradition too. So where does this leave us now? With one name, many stories. One idea, many hands. One warm blend, always moving between market and home, between memory and change. But we are not at the end yet. In our final chapter, we will see how Garam Masala entered everyday modern life, crossed into new countries and new kitchens, and why, even now, people still return to the oldest question of all. What makes one blend feel right? In our final chapter, my friends, let us step into the wide modern world, where old flavors travel into new kitchens every day. Imagine a train station, an airport, a crowded city street. Imagine people carrying recipes in their memory, even when they carry very little in their bags. Imagine a kitchen in one country, then another, then another. The walls are different. The weather is different. The language outside the window is different. But inside the pan, a familiar smell rises again. This is how Garam Masala kept growing. It crossed borders with families, cooks, workers, students, and dreamers. It entered restaurants, small food shops, street stalls, and home kitchens far from South Asia. Some people tasted it for the first time and felt surprise. Some felt joy. Some thought, what is that warm smell? And some wanted more at once. Have you ever tasted something new and felt that it was already close to your heart? Can you imagine meeting a flavor from far away and still thinking, this feels like home? That may sound strange, but food can do that. It can cross distance very gently. As Garam Masala moved outward, something else happened. It began to enter new kinds of cooking. Some people used it in classic family dishes. Others added it to soups, roasted vegetables, rice, snacks, or even new creative meals. A blend once tied closely to one food world began to speak with many food worlds. But there was a problem. When something becomes popular, people often want a quick answer. They ask, so what is Garam Masala? Exactly, they want one clean sentence, one fixed list, one final truth. Yet the old answer still stands. It is a warm spice blend, yes, but it is also more than that. It is a habit, a memory, a region, a home, a way of balancing taste. That is why two packets with the same name may not smell the same. That is why two cooks may smile kindly and still disagree. That is why one person says, "This needs more warmth," and another says, "No, this is enough." They are not always fighting over facts. Sometimes they are protecting memory. Say it with me. Memory lives in taste. Now imagine a younger cook learning in a modern kitchen. Maybe the lesson comes from a parent. Maybe from a grandparent on a phone call. Maybe from a friend. Maybe from simple practice and many small mistakes. A pan gets too hot. The spices darken too fast. Next time the cook goes slower, the smell improves. The blend begins to make sense. This matters because Garam Masala is not only bought, it is also learned. You do not always understand it just by reading the name. You understand it by smelling, tasting, adjusting, and trying again. In simple words, you learn it with your senses. My friends, is that not a lovely way to learn? Not by fear, not by perfect rules, but by attention, by listening, by change. Imagine a cook holding whole spices before grinding them. The hand already knows something. Coriander may bring body. Cumin may bring depth. Cardamom may lift the air. Cinnamon may add sweet warmth. Clove may arrive like a strong little bell. Black pepper may give quiet fire. Each spice has its own work. Together, they make a fuller sound. And still no one spice blend can speak for all. That is the secret that stayed alive through the whole journey. Even now, in a world of labels and fast shopping, Garam Masala often refuses to become only one thing. It stays open. It keeps room for people. Repeat after me. Every blend tells a story. Some stories are about region. Some are about money. Some are about travel. Some are about taste. Some are about what was missing and what took its place. A family may leave one spice out because it was too costly. Years later, that missing spice is no longer missing. It is simply not part of their version. That choice becomes tradition. Need becomes style. Style becomes memory. Memory becomes home. Here our journey comes full circle. What began as local mixing in older kitchens spread across regions, crossed into markets, moved with families, entered packets and shops, and then returned again to the home. Even in the modern world, many people still open a small jar, smell it, and think not of business, but of family. Not of a brand, but of a voice in the kitchen saying, "A little more," or "No, that is enough." Can you imagine how much life can hide inside one spoon? Can you imagine how many roads, hands, and choices live inside that warm dust of spice? And can you imagine that something so ordinary on the table can carry so much hope? Try this phrase. Small spice, long journey. Yes, my friends, a very long journey. And maybe that is why Garam Masala feels special. It is not only there to flavor food. It reminds us that the best things are often shaped slowly. They are mixed over time. They are carried by real people. They change without losing their heart. So the next time you hear the soft sound of spices in a pan, take a moment. The next time you smell that warm, deep air rising from dinner, take a moment. The next time you see Garam Masala in a box, a jar, a market stall, or a family kitchen, take a moment. Ask yourself where it has been. Ask who changed it. Ask who kept it alive. And perhaps, in that moment, you will hear more than cooking. You will hear travel. You will hear memory. You will hear home meeting change, very quietly over the fire. My friends, thank you for walking this road with me. We began with a simple kitchen smell, and we found a whole moving world inside it. Not one fixed answer, but many human answers. Not one recipe for all, but many ways to keep warmth close. So tonight, when food fills the room and the air turns rich and soft, smile a little. Somewhere, someone is still saying, "This is how we make it." And that may be the warmest spice of all.